I mean, uh, um, so here's the thing. I didn't sleep well last night. And then this morning I was like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Just get a little bit more rest. And then I woke up. It was 1:15. I said, hope. So I got up, turned on my computer, hit go live, and here we are. Fresh out of bed, Mr. Sleepyhead. Welcome to the brain domain. Welcome back in, everybody. It's Tuesday. Give it up for Tuesday. Not a lot of people giving it up for Tuesday. You know what today is. You know what today is. If you don't, then I'll go ahead and tell you. Today we're starting the Holiday Survival Guide. The plan for this series is we will do an episode today and an episode tomorrow, leading up to the American Thanksgiving holiday. And then after that, we'll do some more episodes in the series throughout the rest of the year. We'll sprinkle those in as we go into December. So that's the game plan. But today, what we're getting started off with is the why. Today we're talking all about why the holidays can be hard. Oh, in the title of the presentation, I used the word challenging. So we're going to talk about why that happens, or why that is. My thought process here was, let's talk about it. Let's understand why things are difficult. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about what to do about it. So it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter. It's my way of leaving you on a cliffhanger. It gets you coming back tomorrow. So that's the plan. So yeah, how are you doing today? Like I said, I woke up in a state of confusion. I woke up in a daze. I checked the time. I was like, oh, I'm late. You had weird dreams. You had nightmares. I'm hearing a lot of people had weird dreams last night. I think it's the impending holiday. It's manifesting in our subconscious mind, and it's coming out in our dreams. That's my theory. Anyway. I made myself a coffee and I'm just waking up a bit. Oh yeah. Or maybe it's something else. Yeah, maybe it's our psychic connection. Maybe we've got a psychic bond. Maybe it's all connected. I just finished homework. Hell yeah. Love to see it. Love to see it. My brain's still booting up. My brain's still booting up. Yeah, Casey got up around like 8, and then I was like, I'm going back to bed. So I went back to bed. I went back to bed and I was out cold. I was out cold until 1:15 p.m. So pardon me while my brain boots itself up. But I'm here. I was only half an hour late in the grand scheme of things. I think that's pretty good. If I'm gonna be honest, I feel like only being a half hour late when I woke up 15 minutes late, that's pretty good. That was not bad. Struggling to cut back on nicotine. They don't make it easy. Nicotine is pound for pound one of the most addictive substances we know of. Part of what really motivated me to quit nicotine was that I hated feeling beholden to a substance. I hated the feeling of being beholden to nicotine. It's like, oh, you're leaving the house? Better make sure you have your nicotine with you. Oh, you're sitting for somewhere for a while? Better make sure you have the nicotine. It's like, oh, you're going to another room? Who knows how long you're gonna be in there? Better bring your nicotine with you. What got you even in a nicotine addiction? College. College happened. It's still bad to be addicted to nicotine, right? I mean, if you just remove nicotine, like if you just look at all the other things that like smoking or vaping does to your body, it's still It's not that good. Like, nicotine is a stimulant. It's a short-acting stimmy. It can enhance your focus. It can enhance your... give you a little energy boost. All in all, I would say the benefits aren't worth it. I just wanted to personally thank you for the egg advice. I secured myself a dozen luxury eggs for less than the jacked up regular eggs. I feel like a king. You are a king. I'm glad it worked for you. It's like, when I realized that at the grocery store, I was like, what am I doing? I was like, well, oh shit, eggs are $4. Oh well, here we go. And then I realized, I just looked over at all the fancy eggs. I looked over at all the fancy eggs and I said, hey, these fancy eggs aren't marked up. These fancy eggs are only $3.60. Rated with a viewer count of 1969. A good year. It's a good year. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in. It's the holiday special. It's the holiday special. Ridiculous. Thank you for the 3 months. Thank you for that Prime sub. Welcome in, everybody. We have the wheel out. We have the wheel out. How you feeling? How you feeling? You wanna check yourself on the wheel? Who is this? I'm Papa B, and this is the Brain Domain. Where did Hassan go? We have Hassan at home. We got a really exciting episode today, so I'm glad you're here for it. Got a really exciting episode today, and I think we might just... We're gonna jump right into it here pretty soon, actually. I hope you had a good stream, Mike. Hope you're having fun. Hope you're enjoying yourself. We need to do some processing. Yeah, let's process. Let's process this. Today we're talking all about the holidays. I'm working on a series. Okay, this is part 1. So you're here right at the right time. This is day 1, part 1. Holiday Survival Guide. I hate the holidays. A lot of people do. And that's why I put this together. But today, we're going to talk about why you hate the holidays. So you can understand the nature of the problem. And then tomorrow, we're going to talk about what can you do about it. See, it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter if I gave you all the answers. I can't give you all the answers. I gotta keep you coming back. Gotta keep you hooked. I hate them because my little sister died a few years ago. Sorry to hear that. What do you think she would have wanted? Do you think she would want you to hate the holidays forever? One of the things I always have people take into consideration when they're dealing with grief, what would that person want you to do? They want you to hate it, but they want you to be sad? Or would they want you to still have the best time you could? Advice number 1, do not talk to your brother who listens to Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson. He listens to both? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You should send him here. Maybe we can deprogram him. It's one of the things I'm passionate about, is deprogramming men who have been sucked into these weird alt-right rabbit holes. There's still people who listen to Jordan Peterson, and I don't know who they are because I've tried to listen to him, and that man cannot string a sentence together. Like, he got himself addicted to benzos, and then he went to Russia to be put into a coma so that he could get himself off of benzos, and I swear he cooked his brain. Just going into a coma willy-nilly, there's big risk with that. Even a medically induced, medically supervised coma. I think he cooked himself, is what I think. I think he cooked whatever he had left. Like, he wasn't all that with it whenever he went into it, and then he came out of it, it's like, uh-oh. And then he started just eating, he went on a carnivore diet or something. I'm like, what? What is this guy doing? And people come to him for mental health advice? Uh-oh. Kiss this Fid 89. Hey, thank you for subscribing. Welcome in, Raiders. It's the holiday season, and I know how a lot of you are feeling. A lot of you are feeling like, fuck the holidays. And you know what? I don't blame you. I don't blame you, okay? But today, we're going to talk about why they get to us as much as they do. Why they're so tough to deal with. Why they're such a challenge. I've had pneumonia for the last 5 weeks, and my doctor told me I'd have to be sedentary for another month. It's really taken a toll on my mental health, and I feel like I am just rotting inside. How do I find meaning to wake up? Find some high-quality entertainment. This really sucks, and this is a challenge. But this is definitely something that you can do. And so I'm gonna say do whatever you need to do to survive this time. You know, catch up on your shows, watch your favorite movies, maybe read some books. Maybe practice some hobbies, you know, if they like stuff you can do in bed. It's gonna suck and it's gonna be boring, but you're gonna get through it, and then you're gonna be better. And you're gonna get through it, and you're gonna say, "Well, I'm glad I hope I never have to do that again." So take good care of yourself, and I hope you feel better soon. Is buying a ton of games a bad idea? Buy a game and then beat it, and then buy another game. That's what I would say. If you buy a ton of games, you're probably not going to be able to play all of them. No, 100% The Witcher 3. If you haven't 100% of The Witcher 3, go 100% The Witcher 3. Go play Fallout New Vegas. These are things that I would do. Why can't I finish games anymore? That's an interesting question, and that also ties into, you know, a little bit of a phenomenon that you see occurring. We like to start stuff, we like to begin things, we don't like to finish things. Sometimes it has to do with our relationship to the concept of something coming to an end, something being over. Maybe we don't like endings, maybe we don't like closure. Maybe we don't like things being done. You could also do some journaling, you know, if you're stuck in bed, you know, just write stuff down. You know, get some writing done. I didn't realize my 99% RPG saves were psychosis. It's not psychosis, I'd say it's more depression. It's like an unfinished painting. Like, if the painting is done, then I am no longer in the process of making the art. The art is complete. We're gonna jump right into our presentation today, because we've got some important stuff to talk about. That was me in Baldur's Gate, right? I feel like that's a topic we could cover. We could make an episode about that. Like, why do we like to leave things unfinished? Advice for working through that? Give me some time to think about it. Give me some time to think about it. I'll put a presentation together. Oh no, you're good. But you better not apologize to me. We have a no apologies policy here, and if you apologize, you get bonked is what happens. So I hate endings. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely a part of it. And even though it's something that's like relatively insignificant, it's like the end of a game, the end of a book, the end of a movie, or a TV show. We still don't like the fact that it has to end, and so we just don't end it. We just leave it hanging. Now, could this be a reflection of things that we do in other areas of our life? Yeah, probably. Another way to understand ourselves on a deeper level, I suppose. I want to do a poll. Before we really get into it. We're gonna do a little poll before we get started. Cause I wanna see what your relationships with the holidays are like. So are the holidays hard for you? Yes, no, it's complicated. Oh, hi, Miss Poop. Come here. I got a kitty who wants on my desk. Come here, baby. You want to see the cutest kitty you've ever seen? Just look at her. Just look at her. I don't see the poll. It should be pinned up at the top of the chat. It should be pinned up at the top of the chat. You might have to like click to view it. Hi, baby. You want to help me do my presentation today? You want to be my co-host? She says she doesn't get it. She says the holidays are great for her. She says she doesn't understand. She says she gets to eat turkey. She gets to eat ham. She gets to play with toys. She says the holidays are fucking wonderful. She says they do get kind of cold, but she doesn't understand what all this stress is about. Well, Miss Poopy, not everybody has it so easy. You gotta acknowledge your own privilege. It's hard when two of your grandparents die and uncle dies and grandma gets dementia one after another. Holidays are just me and my immediate family right now. It sucks to let the holidays of my childhood go. You're in the process of building a new idea of what holidays are going forward. You might have a really bad holiday. You might have 5 really bad holiday seasons. You might have 10 really bad holiday seasons. But that does not need to be the trend forever. And so we're really going to get into a lot of that tomorrow with what do we do about why the holidays are so rough? How can we make the holidays better for us? And that's going to be tomorrow. Today we're going to talk about the why. RK Monkey, thank you for subscribing. Holidays with your friends can be just as fun. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Family is a feeling. You might have people that you're related to, but it doesn't feel like they're your family. Like maybe you don't see them that often. Maybe they don't really engage with you. Maybe they don't know you that well. Maybe they're downright hostile. And that's not what family feels like. What does family feel like? To me, family feels like understanding, acceptance, love. A lot of us don't get that feeling from the people that we're related to. So you gotta find that feeling with the people that give you that feeling. I'm not surprised to see it, but it doesn't make me happy to see the results of this poll here. Overwhelmingly, holidays are either complicated or downright difficult. But what's the matter? Holidays are supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy the holidays. Why don't you like them? See, that's also a part of why they're hard, is the societal expectation. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Can I tell you all that yesterday when I asked for examples of what my bad attitude is, I only got vague gestures, and when I asked for clarification, I was told that I was being defensive, and that's the problem. You work in a law office, you work with a bunch of lawyers, and they treat you all like lawyers treat people. The politics of working in a law office just sound so draining. It honestly sounds like maybe they're planning to do layoffs or something. Maybe they want people to leave, but they don't want to pay a severance pay, so they're just making things bad for people so that they will just quit. That's what my company is doing now, and I'm just jokering every day till I get that severance. Exactly. Exactly. Sugar, you're gonna find an even better job because you're good at your job. You're a good person. You've just got some really shady, shifty people where you work. Is anybody surprised by these poll results? Because I'm not. If I'm being honest, I'm not surprised. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about why this is. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about what you can do about it. So that's my way of getting you to come back. I'm just being transparent here, alright? I made this a two-parter. I didn't want to overload you with info. We're going to talk about why the holidays are hard, understanding the mechanisms in play here. And then tomorrow we're going to come back and talk about what we can do about all these things. I'm not usually a big fan of Thanksgiving because it's just another 10 to 12 hour day trapped in the kitchen and no one is really thankful at all. They're expecting. Well, then let them do the cooking this year. I'm gonna wait till this poll wraps up. We've got just another moment here. Just another few seconds left on that poll. And then once we're done with that, we're gonna jump right into our presentation today. The topic at hand. The Holiday Survival Guide. Part 1. Why the holidays are challenging. Some of these will be obvious to you. Some of these might be new to you as well. I know what you're thinking. I know why the holidays are hard. My family sucks. That's a part of it. That's part of it. There's more at play. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do a deep dive. Split perfectly balanced as all things should be. Are the holidays hard for you? An overwhelming 78% of the vote. Wait, 77% of the vote. Yes, or it's complicated. The 17 people who said no, well, good for you. Well, good for you. I'm kidding, I'm happy for you. Thank you for taking the time to vote in that poll. Potluck style is the best. That's the best way to do it. It's the only way to do it. Like, alright, I'll make this, you bring that, you bring those, and then we'll all meet here. I could see why holidays would really suck if you had to do all of the cooking and then everyone just showed up and then ate all your food, didn't even really talk to you. Even worse, they'd showed up and they just start complaining. Oh, this turkey's a little dry. Oh, these potatoes are a little under-seasoned. Be gutted if the mac and cheese was made by my aunt because she can't cook. So I'm always like dibs on mac and cheese. You know, even if all the other food sucks, if you got a good tray of mac and cheese, you can make it through. If you got mac and cheese and a decent gravy, the rest can be palatable. If you see a hair on your plate, you shut the fuck and keep eating. Right? We're all family here. We're all eating each other's hair. To make matters worse, my mom insists on cooking certain things but hates it. I offer to cook and she gets mad, lol. She doesn't want to relinquish that control and she feels like this is my obligation, this is my duty. She doesn't want to hand over the reins. What if your Thanksgiving bonding is raiding stores for Black Friday? What if we just did a little bit of capitalism as a family? Black Friday. I think the trend of Black Friday is on the decline, but I don't know. They're probably gonna find a way to bring it back. Black Friday was really bad there for a little while, a couple years ago. You probably remember when they started doing Black Friday on Thanksgiving. They're like, the stores will be open at 8 p.m. on Thursday. That was the worst. Now they just sell the same shit at the same price that they've been selling it the whole time, but they tell you it's marked down. They say, oh, this TV, you can get this TV for $300. It's marked down from $500. The TV is always $300. Anyway. Alright, everybody. It's time for part 1 of our Holiday Survival Guide series, and today we're going to talk about why the holidays are so challenging. My goal here is that by talking about why they're difficult and understanding that better, it leaves us more empowered to do something about it. Alright, so let's get to it. First up, let's talk about the emotional amplifier effect. A main reason why holidays are so stressful is due to the phenomenon that we're going to call the emotional amplifier effect. Holidays are a milestone. And milestone events have a way of magnifying emotions. Joy can feel more joyful. Love can feel more nuanced, more profound. And sadness, loneliness, and stress can feel overwhelming. Some questions for you to think about. Do the holiday seasons amplify positive or negative feelings for you? So the first thing that we really want to understand in exploring why the holidays can be so challenging is to take a look at what they do to our existing emotions. Basically adds a multiplier effect. You got that, so, you know, some person's holiday buff might be another person's holiday debuff, depending on the emotions you're experiencing. Happy Healing Tuesday. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I slept in today and I'm feeling a bit better. And I got Miss Poopy hanging out here with me. She's going to be my co-host today. Trying to turn my negative holiday emotions around this year because they are just past stuff that isn't my life anymore, right? A really important thing to do in life is to learn how to stop picking at old wounds. You know what I mean? Zilkus, thank you for subscribing. I really struggle with that. And we're going to talk about a lot of that stuff tomorrow when we talk about the what do we do about it. So I hope you're here for that as well. Today we're going to understand the why, and tomorrow we're going to talk about the what. I think it's just a human behavior. It's a primate behavior. We can't help but pick at it. You know, evolution gave us these fingers. We just love picking at stuff, don't we? Alright, so holidays are an emotional amplifier. That's pretty easy to understand. That's pretty straightforward, and it's something I feel like a lot of us can relate to. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the weight of expectations. Another reason why the holidays are so stressful. First off, you've got those societal expectations. Everything's got to be perfect. The food, the gifts, the family gathering, the parties, the non-stop happiness. There's Christmas music in the background, constantly reminding you it's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all. So even if not everyone around you is having fun and enjoying the holiday, we're surrounded by this constant reminder that you should be having fun. You should be enjoying yourself. This should be good for you. I feel like that kind of shit gaslights me into being happier during the winter season. Walla Walla 23 with the tier 2 sub. Let's fucking go. That got us off on a hype train. Ooh. Ooh. Thank you. Hype train time. What I found to be helpful for me, I embrace it. I embrace the holiday season. I try to manifest it and just, I try to ooze cheer and goodwill. I try to become a conduit for all of those feelings. That's my way of coping with the societal expectations. I will be the Christmas spirit. So that's how I handle it. All those gifts, all those decorations, all those expectations to go travel, these can also cause a profound financial strain on a lot of people. And this is another thing that's just expected of people societally. I'll be home for Christmas. I'm dreading my graduation where my politically opposed relatives will be visiting for the first time in years, and yes, some of them are Trumpers. Hopefully nothing political is brought up. Despite my degree in political science, I will remain silent just to keep the peace. You know what I've found to be helpful in navigating those types of situations? Sarcastically agree with the people that you're hanging out with. It'll probably go over their heads. Just be like, yeah. Oh yeah. Love politics. Love that guy. Love it all. It's all so great. I really can't wait to pay all those tariffs. I don't know about you, but I'm actually really excited for everything to become more expensive. You know, as a big fan of tariffs, you know, as somebody who knows what a tariff is, I gotta say, I'm stoked. Just hear me out here. As much as you will want to rub their nose in it, as much as you will want to rub their nose in it, be like, see, you were wrong, you did something bad here, you should learn from this, they're gonna take that the wrong way. There's a way that you can talk to people about politics and engage in a dialogue that's actually productive. But just making them feel ashamed and stupid is not that way. And that's what a lot of us, our reflexive instinct is. Chat, we got 30 seconds left on that hype train and we're at 95%. Are we gonna bump it? Are we gonna bump it over to level 2? Let's see what happens. Family pressures. Oh boy. Walla Walla with 10 gifted subs? God bless you. And God bless America. Cheers. How do you feel about Mondays? Sometimes I feel like they should feel that way, though. So, here's the thing. They have their own sense of shame, they have their own sense of guilt, but it's just misplaced. What you gotta remember is that guilt and shame are terrible motivators in the long term. Guilt and shame are just not good at getting people to change their mind. Your parents tried to use it on you and it didn't work. So why would using it on them work? Guilt and shame are piss poor motivators. And they're really bad at getting people to change their mind. More often than that, they just make people angry. Oh my god, we hit our sub goal. We capped over 400. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. That's a W. What about bonding with them about how bad the libs suck? No, absolutely. Like if you go, okay, and we're going to talk about this more tomorrow. We're going to talk about the what we do because, Thanksgiving's coming up. And so we're going to do that tomorrow. And we're going to talk about how do I navigate these situations. Find something that you agree with them on and talk about that. Talk about how you think Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Talk about how much the Democrats suck ass. Talk about that stuff. You have common ground. Like if you're gonna wake them up to the idea of the class war, which there is no war but the class war, you gotta remember that these people are working class, I am working class, we are not enemies. The people who actually are in control and have influence over society want us to be fighting amongst ourselves. So don't do it. My mind is like constantly drenched in guilt for literally no reason. It sucks. Alright, hand it over then. Hand it over. Give it to me. Put it right here. Not just you, but anybody else. Anything you want to get rid of? Anything that's no longer serving you? Anything that you've outgrown? Anything outdated? Hand it over. Give it up. Come on. I got room. Hand it over. You know you don't need it. All right. Anything else? Anything else? Last call. Last call. You want to give up any of your shame, your guilt, any of those things? No longer serving you? Perhaps they're holding you back? They're keeping you from leveling up? Hand them over. Come on. All right. Thank you. Ooh. I'm gonna need to take a Tums after that. Ooh. It's kind of bitter. Am I the guy from Green Mile who eats bad stuff? No, but I learned it from him. That's where I learned the technique. All right. Family pressures. There might be tension, there might be conflict in your family. And this can be another reason why the holidays can be so difficult. This could be politics, this could be trauma. And I feel like this is a big one for a lot of people. There's also that social obligation to attend the event. The hype train is over. Thank you, Walla Walla, for those gifted subs. Thank you again for subscribing at tier 2. Thank you. Another thing to take in consideration is that there is a social obligation to attend a holiday event. Like, what do I feel like everybody else is doing it? I gotta do it too. You know, what if I didn't show up and they're gonna talk about me? What if I disappoint people by not being there? Are they gonna think I'm a bad member of the family by not being there with the family during this event? And so there's just a lot of expectation, there's a lot of obligation to be there, even if you don't want to be there. Even if you have valid reasons for not wanting to be there, like everybody sucks, you still feel like you have to be there because of the implication. A lot of us may struggle with fitting in. Maybe we don't really relate to our family. Maybe our family likes Pepsi. Maybe we like Coca-Cola. Or maybe we feel like we don't meet that family role. Or maybe we feel like we're struggling with meeting that family role. You know, my role as a son, or as a nephew, or as a grandson, or as an uncle, or as a cousin. You know, we have these roles that we feel this pressure to meet. And being there at the holiday with all the family, that makes us feel like we have to be in that role. We have to meet the expectations of that role. There's also personal pressures involved. There's a certain expectation in the holiday season, the need to feel festive, and the need to be productive. And so oftentimes we internalize these pressures, and we feel like, I have to be festive, I have to be productive. My question for you, we're doing a lot of reflection today, by the way. The question here is, what expectations weigh on you the most during the holidays? You know, for me, like, I've had a rough relationship with the holidays, but it's gotten better. And so I just, you know, and a lot of people have been sharing their stories in chat, and I relate with a lot of those things. You know, holidays being good, and then something happens in the family. Somebody passes away. Maybe there's a divorce, and things just aren't the same afterwards. Things feel different. What changed within me is the realization that if the holidays are going to feel magical, I need to become a wizard. I need to be out here casting spells. If the holidays are going to be a magical time, I need to be magical. And so the pressure that I see in the holidays is Gotta make the meals perfect. I gotta be a good cook. Everything's gotta be delicious. But that's a pressure that I can handle. It's a pressure that I can deal with. But the pressure is still there nonetheless. My life is in shambles, so I don't like talking about it, so I don't like if anybody questions me. Right? And it's like, if you wanted them to know about you and you wanted them to be helpful to you at this point in your life, you know, there's a better way to do that. And sometimes I feel like the holidays aren't really that time because everybody's got their own expectations, everybody's got their own plans, everybody's got their own stuff they gotta get done. And so it's not really a time for emotional processing, it's more a time to just cope. I don't want to meet my old friends because I haven't done shit since we last met. But see, here's the thing. You might view it that way, but they might view it as, good old trusty favorite customer. Hasn't changed a bit. The same old favorite customer we all know and love. And so sometimes it's just a matter of perspective. When my uncle's idiot girlfriend picks up my Gram's antiques and has the gall to call them cheap fakes and knockoffs, luckily they have COVID currently and will not be coming, but these things are what adds to my stress. Okay, so here's the thing. You don't have to invite everybody. You don't have to invite everybody. And, like, if there are people who are just going to be, like, disrespectful, like just outright disrespectful, you don't have to invite them. They can find something else to do on the holiday. Just so you know. Oh, I don't get to decide who is invited. Well, you get to decide who you talk to. You get to decide who you engage with. What I like to do when handling such toxicity is I like to ask people questions, like, oh, where did you learn how to appraise these items? Did you study somewhere?
Oh.
Or are you just a hobbyist? Doesn't DV increase during the holiday season? That makes sense. And it has to do with what we talked about in that previous slide, the emotional amplifier effect. Holidays put an emotional amplifier on all emotions. Good emotions and bad emotions. So you're going to see people showing more love. You're also going to see people showing more hatred, more abuse. Let's continue. Let's talk about the role that nostalgia plays in our look at the holidays. Holidays are a time of memories. It brings back those memories of all the holidays you've had. Not just the events that you've been through, but also there are a lot of sensory memories involved. The sights, the sounds, the scents, the tastes. These all tie you back to a certain place in time. These all evoke certain memories. And so the holidays are also a memory amplifier. Is it normal for a travel day to tire you out way more than normal? Oh, absolutely. We're not meant to do that. Like, just think about it. Like, it's only relatively recently in history that you can take a human being and then travel them hundreds or thousands of miles in the span of a single day. I just don't think that we're built for that. It wears you out. It's exhausting. Holidays can include both positive nostalgia, which would be those joyful traditions, those moments that bring us comfort. Maybe it's a certain meal, maybe it's a certain activity. But there's also painful nostalgia. The loss of a loved one. Or longing for those times that can't be revisited. And so even though a lot of our memories going back, they might not all be negative. We might have a lot of positive memories surrounding the holidays, and that's part of the reason why holidays now can be difficult, is because we look back at the holidays and we look back at the good times we had or the positive memories we had, and we say, well, things are different now. Doesn't feel the same. Things have changed. And change is stressful. I never decorate for Christmas. It's another thing my mom did and complained about. Don't want that. If you want to decorate, decorate because you want to decorate. Decorate because it's your way of celebrating. I like it because it helps to get me in the spirit. You know, I'm doing it just because I want to do it. I like seeing Christmas decorations up. Because what I found to be true is if there's just no decorations up and we just go through the holiday season, no decorations, and we're just... I found it made me even more depressed. Because not only did it feel like I couldn't celebrate it, but that I shouldn't celebrate it. Then you gotta put it up and take it down and store it, and yeah, and you know what? And you do it anyway. You do it anyway because you want to do it. Question for you. What are some holiday memories that stand out for you? Good or bad? Give me a good one. Give me a good holiday memory. Or just think about it. You know, if you want to share, go ahead and share. Give me a good holiday memory. My favorite holiday memories were from when I was a child, in the time before my parents were divorced. See, in my lore, in my history, parents getting divorced played a part in why my relationship with the holidays changed. Now, see, as a kid, it wasn't so bad because it was like, okay, 2 houses, 2 Christmases. And I didn't really fully understand or process the difficulty and the challenge of that situation until I was an adult. My first ever bicycle. Nice. Running around in my great aunt's yard as a kid with my cousins. It was dark and I ran into a little cherub statue, broke its head right off, put it back on and didn't tell anybody. 2 months go by before she noticed and all my cousins covered for me and didn't say that I did it. Solidarity forever. What was one of your favorite gifts that you got as a kid? I always loved Transformers. So I got a PlayStation 1. A PlayStation 1, baby. You can tell the age of different chatters depending on the video game console that they tell you was their favorite gift as a child. The one that comes to mind for me was the PlayStation. My sister wasn't old enough to play it, so I had it all to myself. And she mostly just watched me play. These are also some of her fond memories from childhood that she's told me about, as she says, like, oh yeah, I used to love just hanging out with you and watching you play video games. Playing Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon. The original Nintendo system at 7 years old in 1985. There you go. Did your sister get the unplugged controller so they could feel included? Oh, of course. Another thing that I used to do is I used to play Mortal Kombat with my sister whenever she was old enough to actually, like, use the controller, but not really old enough to play the game. And then I would do mirror matches. I would say, okay, well, we both got to play the same character because that's fair. And then I would make her think that she was controlling my character and that I was controlling her character. And then I would just whoop the shit out of her in Mortal Kombat and be like, damn, you got me again. My brother would rage quit if I beat him at a game. I feel like that's something as a child that really needs to be nipped in the bud. Like, getting really angry over the results of a video game, that's something that you really gotta nip in the bud early. We see full-grown adults, like, breaking controllers and stuff. Like, come on, it's a video game. And I get it. It's an outlet for your anger. It's a way that you cope with your emotions. But it's a video game, man. It's like, no, they need that win, because if they win at the video game, they feel that little bit of validation. They feel that little bit of, you know what, maybe I'm not a piece of shit. Maybe I am good. Video games are meant to be fun. But if they're just making you mad and break things, you know. It's kind of like alcohol. Alcohol's supposed to be fun. But if alcohol just makes you mad and break stuff, maybe you should change your relationship with alcohol. Same goes for video games. Oh yeah, you're talking the toy you're talking about, Ketsuki, is the Skip It. I never had a Skip It, but I always wanted a Skip It, and I'm actually kind of glad I never got a Skip It because I think they actually probably sucked ass. Yeah, the 90s were a wild time in, like, the toys that they would make. Like, just go out and injure yourself. Like, here you go, have moon shoes. They make you bounce. All of the fun of a trampoline in your kitchen. Alright, let's talk about another big reason why the holidays can be so difficult. Loneliness and isolation. Hi, Miss Pooh. Getting more comfy? So, taking what we've talked about already, we recognize that the holidays are an emotional amplifier. Positive emotions and negative emotions are both dialed up during the holiday season. And loneliness and isolation make those worse. One of the most stressful situations that a human can be in is having a lot of emotional stress and having no one to talk to about it, having no one to share it with, having no one to help them with it. And that's what the holidays present to a lot of people. And this is why the holiday season is also a traumatic time for a lot of people, is you see an uptick in, abuse or harm or even suicide during the holiday season. And this is why it's so important to stay connected with people or to find people to connect with. Because the holidays can be really difficult. They can be a big challenge. But it's not a challenge that you have to face on your own. Why is it that the only thing people care about during the holidays is gifts and not sharing what they have with those who don't? And instead of being stressed about buying gifts and not having enough money for that, share and give love? Some people are like that, but not all people are like that. And that's really important to remember. There are some very shallow, materialistic people out there, but they don't speak for all of us. I wish I had more money for gifts for people, so I end up feeling really bad. I love gifting. We're going to talk about that more tomorrow. And we talk about how we cope with all these difficult feelings, because a lot of us do love giving gifts. It's one of our love languages. It's one of the ways we communicate love with people. And it really is not about the dollar amount. It's not about how expensive it was. It's the gesture. It's the thought. The overly materialistic people are part of the reason why the holidays are so difficult. Just being honest. Because it completely goes against the idea. A lot of people just treat the holidays like another birthday. Everybody likes getting presents. Most of us do. Some people find it uncomfortable. Some of the challenges that exist during the holidays, being away from loved ones. Maybe it's distance. Maybe we've become estranged. Maybe we had a falling out. Or maybe we've lost someone. Maybe we feel like we lack meaningful relationships. Or maybe we lack traditions. The societal expectations around togetherness can worsen the feelings of disconnection. It's just now sinking in how messed up my mental state and life are. You know? But now, you're empowered to start doing something about it. The way that I look at mental health is kind of like how you look at a car. If you want to know what's wrong with the car and how to fix the car, you gotta look under the hood. You gotta understand the nature of the problem that you're trying to fix so that you can fix it. Is that Penny? Yeah, Penny's on the warpath. Penny's on the wharf path, I fear. A really important part of a mental health healing journey is recognizing just how messed up you actually are. But then it's about, okay, well, what do I want to do about it? Because I don't want to feel this way forever. Not falling into despair is really important. Because a lot of people will start to realize just all of the different ways in which they might be dealing with problems, or they might be emotionally stressed, or they might feel unwell mentally. And then they say, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm stuck this way. Life sucks. It's only going to get worse. If you believe that it's only going to get worse, it's only going to get worse. If you want things to get better, you have to believe that things can get better. How do I begin to want birthdays again? I just stopped celebrating them by throwing yourself a birthday party, or by just taking your birthday to do whatever you want to do. Or if you have people you care about, try to make their birthday special. Doesn't even have to be anything expensive, just a nice, thought out, a letter, a card, just letting them know what they mean to you. It's not about the dollar amount, it's about the meaningfulness of the gesture. And I feel like that's why a lot of people also feel dissatisfied during the holidays, is because they feel like, well, it's just all about spending money and it's about how much money you spend. And it really isn't. Like, sure, having nice stuff is nice, but having nice people in your life is nicer. The societal expectations around togetherness end up worsening these feelings of disconnection. It's everywhere in Christmas music. Christmas music is always, it's all about, it's the most wonderful time of year. We're all together. We're all here. Isn't it so great? Isn't it so wonderful? And then what this ends up doing is it makes us feel more disconnected, more alone, more isolated. So my question for you, what helps you to feel less alone during the holidays? Can I ask a heavy question? Sure, it's my favorite type of question. So chat, what helps you to feel less alone during the holidays? I have Casey in the room with me. I should ask her too. Casey, what helps you feel less alone during the holidays?
I mean, obviously being with friends, but I know not everyone has people they live with. So I guess I would say doing games in Discord or watching movies in Discord or joining a Twitch stream.
You're so sweet for saying it that way. Because you recognize it's like, well, I know what I can do, but I also care about other people who also feel alone. It's part of the reason why I love you so much.
Her up an iPad right now to make sure she still feels connected to the family.
Yeah, Casey's over here setting up an iPad for Grandma. She's getting Grandma's iPad going. She's gonna get her some games. What's she doing? She's still up at the hospital. We're gonna go visit her here in a couple hours. What if I self-isolate from family to not involve them in my issues? And then many times we're valid to do that. You know, if our family is shown that they do not care about how we feel, or they minimize how we feel, or they want to, make our trauma feel trivial. You're valid in not wanting to engage with those people because they make you feel crazy. They make you feel like I'm the problem. Family is a feeling. And you might not get that with the people that you're related to. But you probably know what it should feel like. So find those people. So what are some things that help you feel less alone during the holidays? For me, I like to give back. You know, what we've been doing on Casey's stream, you know, that has become a bit of a ritual, a bit of a tradition for us, is to do the holiday stream marathon so that it gives people a place to hang out, to engage, to not feel so alone. Can't wait for the zooted Lady Gaga special. Watching the Lady Gaga Muppets Christmas special is always one of my favorite parts of the holiday. So, going back to what Arcos Dusty Fries said, what if I isolate from family to not involve them in my issues? That's okay to do if you feel like your family is only making your issues worse, if they're harming instead of helping. But you should not be completely isolated with your issues. There are people out there who would want to help you. There are people who want to support you, so don't forget that. It's often a fight that we try to make on our own, but it doesn't have to be. My family is so mixed, it's so complicated. You can't hate or love them. You hate and love them. Spoiler, love wins in the end. Love always wins. I hope so. And that's why it'll win. Because you're not sitting here hoping that hate wins, are you? On Christmas, I go to downtown Houston and get drunk. Hell yeah! There you go. Love them, but hate being with them. You know? This is why during the holiday seasons, it's great. You know, you can spend the time with your family until it starts to feel like, okay, I want to leave now. I'm done. I've done. I've had enough. You know, so being able to be like, all right, well, time for us to hit the road. You know, that's always helpful. Yes, how do you deal with work crushes? I don't know why I'm struggling so much to move on. Moving on's hard to do, especially if you don't have practice in moving on. Don't date coworkers. It's never a good idea. Even if sometimes it is a good idea, it's still probably a bad idea. It's really important to have boundaries in your romantic life that are different from your work life. having to see them every day. It's like being in school. It's like having a high school crush. With okay, there's another aspect of this, and it's familiarity. With familiarity comes fondness. And so sometimes just the fact that you see this person multiple times a week, it makes you more fond of them. And so it amplifies those effects of like attraction or like wanting to be with them. Another reason why the holidays are so stressful: time. Holidays are milestone events. They are markers of years passing. And they create moments for reflection. These could be positive. These could be moments where we are able to have gratitude for our growth, or we look back at our milestones. Maybe we look back through the years and say, you know what? Things were a little rough there for a while, but maybe things are better now. I look forward to seeing Home Alone for the 200th time. Me too. I watch Home Alone every single year. Reflection can also be challenging. We might be dealing with regret over our unmet goals. There might have been changes in our relationships. Maybe circumstances have changed. So, the takeaway here is that reflection is natural, especially around the holiday season. It's a marker of time passing, and that's a natural moment to look back and reflect. It has you thinking about all of the other holidays that have passed. And so reflection will undoubtedly happen, but the important thing here is to balance it with self-compassion. So maybe looking back at the things we might regret, the things we might feel guilt or shame over, and recognizing that I have learned from those things and I have grown from those things. And so maybe I don't need to look back and see all of this guilt and shame and this regret. Maybe I can look back and feel grateful for how much I have grown, how far I have come. So during the holidays, you will undoubtedly find yourself reflecting on the past. This is normal. This is to be expected. But what I would highly encourage you to do is to show yourself some compassion while you do it. I watched the Choose Your Own Adventure presentation last night, and it was really nice to think and reflect on my life this year as I've gone through a lot of changes. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That was a fun one to do. I wanted there to be a more fun, uplifting presentation, so I'm glad you liked it. If you missed it, the VOD is still up on Twitch, but the VOD is also cross-posted to YouTube. You can find all of my VODs at least for the past several months. I only started cross-posting to YouTube about 7-8 months ago. You can find them all there as well. So I would just like you to remember this as we continue into the holiday season. There are times where I am undoubtedly undoubtedly I'm going to be doing some reflecting. And do I want to look back on this and just have it be full of guilt and shame and sorrow, or do I want to try to embrace the positive? You know, my growth, the different milestones I've met. Where do we go from here? What's the next step? Today we talked all about many of the different reasons why the holidays are difficult. And we did this with purpose. This was something we wanted to do because our goal was to understand the why it's happening before we move on to the what we can do about it. Just like popping open the hood of a car, you want to understand why the car is making that weird noise, so then you can figure out what you need to do to fix it. Just want to let you know, it's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel lonely. Your feelings and your experiences are valid. Acknowledging these emotional complexities of the holiday season in a healthy and honest way is a major step in healing. And changing your relationship with the holiday season is possible. It is possible. And I want you to remember that. Tomorrow, we're going to do part 2 of the Holiday Survival Guide. And what we're going to talk about tomorrow is we're going to talk about all of the different ways that we can navigate these challenges and how we can create more moments of peace and joy. So I'm leaving you on a little bit of a cliffhanger today. Any questions? Actually, we've got some reflection to do. We're going to do some closing discussion. We got some more reflection for you. So do you just eat your work crush? I would not recommend eating another human. I would not recommend eating them. Try being friends with them. Just lower the expectation. You know, I like this person. I think they're cool. Be their friend. Don't put the expectation of like, we have to be in a relationship. I need this person. I need to, you know, just be cool about it. That's what I would do. Just be friends. I mean, like, swallow the feelings. Do you like them as a person? If you like them as a person, be their friend. If things end up becoming different and you end up growing closer, even better. sometimes that it's that expectation of like, I need to be in a relationship with this person. I need to secure this. I need to lock this down before anyone else does. It's it's it kind of takes away from, a human like a human interaction, It's all this expectation of like ownership and control, and we don't want that in our relationships. So if you like this person, just be nice to them. If you want to be their friend, be their friend. Lower the expectation level. Just get to know each other. I think you're thinking too far ahead, and that's why it's stressing you out. Oh. Because the truth of the matter is that if you like them as a person and you like to be around them and you want to be friendly with them, that should exist regardless of whether or not they want to be in a romantic relationship with you. You know what I mean? If you're looking for a relationship, find somebody else who's also looking for a relationship. Poopy, you're so cute. All right, let's do some reflection questions to end. What part of the holidays feel the hardest for you? And also, what parts are the best? What are some of the highs and lows of the holiday season for you? Let's hear it. Some of the hardest for me would be thinking about the people that I've lost, the people that I used to associate with the holidays. Grandparents, the family all being together. That I miss. But just because it's hard and just because it's sad doesn't mean that my holidays now have to be sad. I can look back on the things that I have lost and I can be glad that they happened, rather than sad that they're not happening now. The best is the food, it's the movies, it's getting cozy, it's hanging out, drinking hot chocolate, feeling all that love in the air. That's the best part for me. The togetherness. Am I ending the stream soon? No, I'm going to open up the question box after this. We're going to go into the question box. I just wanted to get my presentation started early today. We got a bunch of raiders here, and I'm like, all right, raiders, let's go right into the presentation. How about it? So I'm going to do some question box stuff after this, but I am going to wrap up in probably like an hour, hour and a half, because we are going to go visit Grandma up in the hospital. Hardest for me is loss and change. The best part is the nice respite from work and the daily grind. It's so hard to be friends with dumbasses. I have a few, but that's because we served in the Marines together. Hoorah, soldier. Lows are the loneliness, the feeling of wanting to belong more, especially with family, old memories that I miss. Alright, now what are the positives? You gotta give me both. The point of today's presentation was not to just make everybody feel worse, alright? It's not to make everybody feel worse. I don't want that to happen. It's meant to make us have an honest, healthy communication about why the holidays are hard, so that we can feel more empowered to do something about it. You know what I mean? Spending time with friends, food. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How does it feel knowing that you are in a group of people right now who have similar feelings to you? How does that make you feel? Because a lot of us feel those feelings of like loneliness, loss, disconnection. How does it feel to know that right now you are in a space where you are surrounded by people who feel the same way? How does that feel? I don't like group therapy. It feels like it's just a pity party. Oh, we get work done. We get work done. It's not just a sob fest. It's not just a trauma dump. We do work. We do work here. We don't just sit around feeling sorry for ourselves. We grab life by the reins and we say, all right, I'm taking over. I'm steering it from here. The hardest part is being around my family and dad with dementia. My mom is struggling with a lot of stressors you mentioned, so it's hard to help her and my dad. The best part is getting to spend time with my dad while he's still here. And I feel like a really important part of that, both for you, your dad, and your mom, is that you're there. Casey, turn down your iPad.
I'm trying to figure out how.
There should be a volume button on the side. There you go. Now, Casey's getting the iPad set up for Grandma, and she's installing a bunch of games for her, and she had the volume cranked up. Not to sound like I'm in a cult, but this space did help me get out of a 7-month depression. You know, this is an intentional community. It's different. It's different. I'm never dodging the cult allegations, though. Definitely not a cult. You know, going back to what Walla Walla said, because I'm still thinking about it, you know, it's really difficult. And I find myself in a little bit of a similar situation, you know, dealing with an older family member who is experiencing some cognitive decline. And as sad as that is, still being there for them and being together in spite of that is so meaningful. You know, even when things get really dark, you still got that little light of love, that little candle. Keep it lit. Don't let it go out. I'm not here regularly, but whenever I need to stop by, I need a push. It seems to help. I'm a pusher. thanks. I appreciate that. You're welcome. I'm sure it means a lot to your mom that you're there. You know, there are ways that you want to help more, and that means that you're a good child. You know, you are a good child to your parents. You want to be there for them. You want to do what you can to help, to alleviate that stress. And I think just you being there means everything. So, in thinking about where we're at right now and where we want to be going forward, what would you like help with in navigating this holiday season? What can you recognize are going to be some of your main challenges, some of the things that you're going to have to deal with as we get closer to the holidays? More socializing. Twitch is a great place to practice your socializing, and it's a great way to get some meaningful social interaction. I need to create some holiday spirit for myself. Yeah, Cutie Cheeks, this year for Christmas, you're giving yourself the gift of freedom from your nicotine addiction. It's so thoughtful of you to do. It's such a sweet gesture. This is so difficult. You've handled worse. Let's be real. Let's be real. You've handled worse. You've navigated how many traumas in your life? You've survived how much hardship? You've thrived in spite of how many difficult circumstances? Nicotine doesn't stand a chance. It's you versus a molecule. Molecule doesn't stand a chance. Just bought a new vape for Thanksgiving. You know, do what you gotta do to cope. I'm not gonna hate on people for, needing their nicotine. It helps a lot of people get through. But just try to be mindful of how long do I need this for? Because if this is something I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, it's undoubtedly gonna damage me in some ways. It's easier to talk on Twitch because everyone can read comments and answer them at their own pace, but try to pry a comment in a conversation IRL and can happen smoothly. There are techniques, there are strategies. Navigating conversations is one of my passions. It's something that I've had to put a lot of practice in. It's something that I've put a lot of mindfulness and intention into. In being a counselor and being a therapist, you got to learn how to talk to people. And there are different ways that you can do that. If you're talking to somebody about something and you want to bring up something that was talked about earlier, all you got to say is, hey, going back to that thing you were talking about earlier. I remember you said this. Just picking up where you left off. The mirroring the body language thing helped me a lot, and you taught me that, Papa. Oh. I showed you the tricks, but you did the hard work. On day 3, which is supposed to be the hardest. Alright. If you're quitting nicotine, what I would advise you to try is every time I feel like I want nicotine, do a breathing exercise. Big deep breath in through the nose, hold it for a moment, and then slowly out through the mouth. Seems like a keep it simple mindset. What do you mean by X? You mentioned Y earlier. Oh yeah, absolutely. The thing about communicating is it's like people often struggle in social situations because it feels like a play. It feels like you're on a stage, and it feels like there is a narrative flow. There is a structure. And if I don't get to say what I wanted to say back there, I missed my line and I'm not going to be able to talk about it because everything else is predetermined. But that's not how it works. It's more like an RPG. You go through a line of dialogue, and then it takes you back and be like, okay, well, what else can I do in this dialogue tree? Oh my god. She's so floofy. Oh no. Miss Poopy. You're just gonna show me that fuzzy belly and I'm not supposed to pet it? How could you do this? Her winter coat is so fluffy. God, you're so cute. Oh, hi, baby. She said, why did you stop? She said, I wasn't done. This one loves pets. And if you try to stop petting her before she's done, she'll smack you. And she'll say, I didn't tell you to stop. Not like a hard smack, just like a little bop. Just like a little, like, hey. Poopy, you're so cute. What do you want for Christmas, Miss Poop? She wants a yellowfin tuna? A whole tuna? A whole tuna, Miss Pooh? I don't know. That's a... She says she wants some sashimi. Miss Pooh, I don't know if I have that in my budget. I don't know if I can get you a whole tuna fish. But I'll see what I can do. Another question for you. Because in navigating the holiday season, what I believe to be helpful is to not just focus on the ways in which we can help ourselves. Now, that is important. But another thing to keep in mind is, in what ways can we come together? In what ways can we help others to navigate this season as well? Because in many ways, we help ourselves by helping others. Miss Poopy, I'm not getting you a bluefin tuna. A whole bluefin tuna weighs hundreds of pounds, and it could cost millions of dollars for a single fish. The person I'm dealing with tries to help everyone but ignores their problems or advice. Yeah, a lot of people will distract themselves from their own problems by trying to help other people on their problems. You will even see a lot of people in the mental health field doing this. You'll see a lot of people who have their own mental health struggles, and they distract themselves by that by helping other people with their mental health. But I think that's something really important to consider in navigating the holiday season is, how could we do this together? Because togetherness really is important, so let's listen to that. You know, there's all of this reinforcement about coming together, being together, or in the holidays. So what can we do? I feel like we stand a much better chance in dealing with this situation if we do it as a team. When I had money, I used to bring blankets and care packages to the homeless. I want to be able to do that again. That sounds really nice. You know, or even just volunteering your time. You know, even if you don't have the money, even just volunteering your time. You know, handing out things, delivering things, maybe working in a meal kitchen, you know, and just being there with other people and seeing just how many people have nobody on the holiday. But being somebody who is there. And so I feel like if we are going to make it through, if we are going to make it better, we stand the best chance if we do that as a team. And I want to end this presentation by thanking you. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in the conversation. I'm glad you were able to be here, and I'm thank you for participating. Because this is not easy stuff to talk about. But I feel like we were able to do it in a healthy and productive way. And so I'm not going to leave you hanging here. We're going to pick up again with it tomorrow, and we're going to talk about helpful tools and strategies that we can use to make the holidays special. to cope with this stress, and to build a better future. So thank you. Give yourselves a pat on the back. I just want to point out that like a lot of people here who did reach out, who did communicate, who did share what they're going through, just think about all of the people who were here who felt like they aren't ready to do that yet. The people who are experiencing those same feelings but feel alone in those feelings, or are having a hard time talking about those feelings. So by being here, by participating, by showing people it's okay to have those feelings, it's okay to talk about those things, you're helping people. You might not realize it, but you are helping people. Thank you for this. Just got to know you because of Mike, but we'll be here tomorrow too. You know, Mike's a great friend, and I owe a lot to Mike. He's really helped give me that boost. So I appreciate him. One day he's gonna call me in for a favor and I won't be able to refuse. Yeah, I want to be the Jordan Peterson of the left, except I want to be not a lunatic. I mean, I'm not claiming to not be a lunatic. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, they're always talking about how the left needs a Joe Rogan. The left also needs a Jordan Peterson. And maybe it will be me. I'm gonna start dressing like the Joker. And I'm gonna start wearing mismatching suits. And I'm gonna tell you that if you want to fix your brain, you gotta start in your room. You've got cans everywhere, you've got clothes strewn about, and you gotta think back to the ancient Mesopotamian god. He had eyes that surrounded him on his head, and he could see in all angles. And in some ways, we live in this capitalistic panopticon. Getting pretty good at my JP. I'm getting pretty good at it. Casey laughed. She was sitting over there. She laughed. Like, okay, yeah, it must have been pretty good. Looks around at my cans. See, here's the thing. Every little bit of stuff, every little bit of like trash, refuse, that's just one little thing that you're worrying about on a subconscious level. So just think about it. Think about the effect that it could have on your mind if things were tidy. You would be literally removing tangible objects that are contributing to your subconscious stress. Cluttered room, cluttered mind. Even though it's something that seems relatively insignificant, every can, every napkin, every Taco Bell hot sauce packet, it's just one little thing that is adding up to the tally in your mind. This is something that I'm going to have to deal with eventually. I'm going to have to do something about this eventually. And it's contributing to your stress in a small but meaningful way. Mike was saying it takes a bit of narcissistic tendency to stream, so maybe you are a bit off, but I appreciate listening to you and it's been helpful to me. I'm glad I'm helping. I'm glad I'm helping. Me looking at all my dirty dishes. Hey, look at it this way. This is what I found to be helpful. Instead of viewing that cleaning or that decluttering as a chore or as a task or as an ordeal, look at it this way. You're giving yourself a gift. You're giving yourself the gift of an empty sink. You're giving yourself the gift of a clean room. And you've earned it. You deserved it. I found this to be helpful for me because whenever I feel like I'm giving a gift, I'm willing to try a little bit harder. I'm willing to go a little bit farther. And so I found that adopting that approach made it easier for me to put more into doing the things that I need to do. I'm giving myself a gift. I'm giving myself the gift of self-care. You know, I'm taking a shower, I'm brushing my teeth, tidying up my living space so that I can tidy up my mind as well. It unnerves me to know we send some precious minerals out into space and never see them again. You know, there are more minerals in space than we will ever know what to do with, so we just need to go lasso an asteroid or something. I often think about how psychologists say you perceive your future self as a different person, so I take advantage of that by doing favors for future me. Right? Oh yeah, you're doing favors for that person. Future me is gonna look back and say, I'm glad that past me was looking out for me. I'm glad that past me did that laundry or did those dishes so that I don't have to do it. Good looking out, me. I feel like a lot of the reason why we feel like we're stuck in place, we're just spinning our wheels, is because we want that immediate benefit. We want to feel good, but we don't want to have to do the work. Like, why can't I just feel better? Why can't I just have a clean house? Why can't it just be that way? Do it for future you. Plant seeds for trees that you will never be able to enjoy the shade. Oh my god, this cat. She's so cute. Does anyone know if you can stain a fence in the cold? Yeah, you can. As long as it, like, because most stains have some sort of, like, you know, solvent, like, and it makes the freezing temperature a little bit lower than water. I mean, unless it's a water-based solvent and you're freezing and below freezing, and you're in below freezing temperatures, it might not work. But also, are you supposed to stain wood before you paint it? No, not necessarily. Sometimes people just stain the wood. Sometimes people just paint the wood. But a reason for painting before staining is, or a lot of it has to do with like moisture. I've watched some videos about like when you should or should not like finish the wood, or when you just want to like just put a coat of paint on it. I think we're confused, y'all. Is Brian a psychologist or our dad giving us general domestic advice? Maybe a little bit of both. Alright, we're about to check out the question box. Let's get to it. Hi, Joshua and chat. I am gay. Oh, hi, gay. How's it going? Skip mine, please. I don't know which one's yours. Did you sign it? Go to my room, Dad. All right. Have fun. There's something about self-sabotage. Okay. If you want me to skip it, I will. But if you change your mind... I want to make sure you're not self-sabotaging by asking a question and then saying, actually, don't talk about that question. So if we skip the self-sabotage question, am I helping you self-sabotage? Oh boy. I have a lot of panic attacks or nearly attacks when I'm still kind of asleep. Is there anything I can do to stop them when I'm in that state? You're not alone in this. This is actually pretty common because the thing about falling asleep is it puts you into a very vulnerable state. Whenever you transition from wakefulness to sleep, your walls have to come down, your guard has to come down so that you can enter a state of sleep. And so a lot of times what happens is while those guards are coming down, our mind can kind of start wandering in places that we normally are very good about making sure it doesn't go. And so sometimes when we're about to fall asleep, that's when our mind will think of, hey, remember that thing you said? Remember that thing you said in 6th grade? Remember how embarrassing it was? That was really bad. You know what I find to be helpful? Because you ask me, is there anything I can do to stop them when I'm in that state? What I find to be helpful is being mindful and reminding myself, now is not the time. Now is not the time. What am I gonna do about it? I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm about to fall asleep. I'm about to go to bed. What am I gonna do? Get up and fix all of my life's problems? That's a problem for future me. Let me in the morning handle that. Right now, I'm not in the time. It's not the time nor the place. So just recognizing that, okay, I hear what you're saying. This is something I want to think about. This is something I want to process. This is something I need to work on. But this is really just not the time to do it. But I'll do it in the morning. I found that to be helpful. Just being realistic. Like, what am I gonna do? It's 1 o'clock at night. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna get up and fix my life right now? No. I'll do it in the morning. I hate those jolts of falling and you're like, what the fuck? I'm on the bed. Right? There's a name for it. It's called a hypnic jerk. Here's something that might be helpful. If you are finding yourself awake or facing a problem that you want to work on, write it down and leave it for yourself in the morning. Recognize that right now is not the time nor the place for me to take a meaningful effort at solving all of my life's problems. It just isn't. I'm in bed, I'm sleepy. Now is not the time. So maybe I'll just write it down. I'll make a note of it. And then I'll get back to it in the morning after I've had some sleep. Because what's the difference going to be? It's not so urgent that I need to do something about it right now. Because that's the truth. It's not such an urgent thing that you have to do something about it right here, right now, in the middle of the night. But when your mind is in like a sleepy space, sometimes our logic isn't really there and we feel like, I gotta do something about this. I gotta do it right now. So this makes sense. This happens because when we're about to fall asleep, our minds enter a state where these sorts of thoughts make it through our filter. Just recognize that that's why it's happening. Acknowledge that I can't do anything about it right now, nor would I want to do anything about it right now. I'm not at my best. If I want to take a meaningful effort to do something about these things that are keeping me awake, shouldn't I do them when I'm rested? Shouldn't I do that when I'm at my best instead of right here in the middle of the night? So acknowledge it, but say it's okay to wait. It's not so urgent that I need to get up and act right now. Hello, Brain Domain. I've always found it hard to talk about my emotions to family and close friends. I recently watched your presentation on love, which I absolutely loved, by the way. I'm glad. It was a lovely presentation. Anyway. And I would like to start, but I find it hard to bring up the subject. I think that over the past 4 years, I've tried to suppress my emotions because of a traumatic experience I had at the start. It was the end of high school. and I had some assignment I had to finish, but for some reason I couldn't bring myself to do it. I would stare at the empty Word document, but couldn't bring up the courage to start typing. So after a while, I would go back in call with my friends to do some gaming or just hang out. This was when everyone was home, isolating from COVID, so we could all just hang out on Discord. At some point, the teacher mailed my parents about the assignment, so my parents started pushing me to do it. I wasn't making progress, so at some point they decided to cut the internet connection to my PC and said I could have it back once I finished the assignment. This period is very blurry to me because I tried to not think about it for a while, because every time I did, I would cry and ask myself why my parents would do this to me. I think for somewhere in between a few days and 1 month, they kept me off the internet, which would mostly end up with me locking myself in the bathroom, blasting music into my ears, or me in my room watching YouTube videos on my phone, hiding under the blankets, trying not to cry every time I heard my parents come in. At some point, they gave me back the internet, and the assignment didn't end up mattering, and I finished high school. I felt broken, thinking that it was all for nothing. We didn't have prom because of COVID, but the school organized a get-together, and my friends messaged me if I would come. I said yes, but ended up spending the night crying with my mom, checking on me every now and then. The last 4 years have been very tough. I tried to start college a bunch of times after it happened, but ended up dropping out because I would think back a lot of nights about what happened, and ended up crying a lot, still wondering why my parents would do this to me. At this point, I've forgiven them because I think they just wanted the best for me. It sucks that I think at the time they thought that the best for me was finishing my assignment because it was the last hurdle that could make me not finish high school. My relationship with them is good now, but I don't think they know I struggled with this so much. I want to talk to them about it and also talk with my friends about this and my emotions in general, but I don't know where to start and how I would ever bring this up. Since this May, I've been on a journey of self-improvement, making small steps which add up over time. It hasn't been easy, but things are finally looking up and I'm excited for the future. Thank you for being a part of that. Hell yeah. Alright, I want to point something out. You will talk to them about it when you are ready to talk to them about it. And you have spent this time doing that. You have spent the time preparing to do that. Getting there. And so you're getting closer. You're getting to the point where you're like, I want to sit down and talk with my parents about what happened. You know, you're growing up, you're getting older. You're growing up and you're getting older and you're entering a stage in your life where you can start to have conversations with your parents as an adult. And that's an important shift. That's an important dynamic. It's something that happens as you get older. You know, your parents are still your parents, but they're adults and you're an adult. And so you're able to talk about things in a more mature adult way. And you've been getting there. Something that I notice a lot of people have hard feelings about is feeling like they want to do something that they just weren't ready to do yet. You know, they feel bad because they weren't able to talk to somebody about something. They feel bad because they weren't able to, you know, process something or change something that needed to be changed. You weren't ready yet. You were getting prepared. You were getting ready to do that thing. And now you're here. I think a lot of the stress of the situation was also due to the isolation that you were feeling because of COVID. It sounds like your parents do care about you. It sounds like they do want the best for you. And it sounds like it was a stressful situation for you and for them. And I feel like if you're able to talk about it, you're able to learn more about each other. You're able to grow closer because of it. So if you want to talk to somebody about something, you mentioned here, I want to talk to them about it and also talk with my friends about this and my emotions in general, but I don't know where to start and how I would ever bring this up. It's simpler than you might think. There are different ways to do it. You can ask them, hey, have you ever thought about how it felt that time we spent during COVID? It felt so isolating, right? Like, I remember feeling so isolated. How did it make you feel? A great way to talk about your feelings is to ask somebody about their feelings. And then it opens up the conversation, and you can engage in a dialogue. And you can share in your experiences. It doesn't have to be, hey, you, here, listen, sit down. I'm going to talk to you about my feelings, and you're going to listen. It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like, all right, I'm going to give you a lecture about how I feel. Let's have a conversation. Let's sit down and talk about how we feel. Because you had your challenges, they had their challenges. Let's understand each other better. Let's talk about them. Right, Miss Poop? Mm-hmm. I've been feeling really down and overwhelmed lately, and I just needed someone to share my thoughts with. Well, you're in the right spot. Ever since I was a kid, life has been tough. We were poor, and my parents used to fight a lot. They separated when I was 14 and had a huge impact on me, on my studies, my childhood, and how I see myself. Honestly, relatable. I was a little younger when my parents split up. I was probably 12. But yeah, it's a tough point in your life. When my mom and I moved to a new city, I finally found some friends when I was 16. They were rich, educated, and spoke good English, while I felt inferior and only okay in English. Even though I felt out of place, I hung out with them for about a month. There was a girl in that group that I really liked, more than I've ever liked anyone before. One day when we were alone, I opened up to her about my life, my parents, and how everything had affected me. I just needed someone to talk to, but she ended up telling everyone and they all stopped talking to me. This is teenager stuff. Teenagers don't know how to handle that kind of stuff, especially if they've lived a life of relative comfort and privilege. They don't understand this type of stuff. And it sounds like they definitely handled it in the wrong way. You tried to have an adult conversation with somebody who is emotionally immature, and you were given an emotionally immature response. I think about it a lot and regret ever opening up to her. If I hadn't told her about my life, I might still be friends with them. I really liked her and I miss her, and the friendships I had back then, losing them still hurts so much. Why would you want friends who don't care about your emotions? This is something that you should want in friendships, is being able to open up, being able to communicate, being able to talk about the things that are affecting you. That's what friendships are for. So maybe they did you a favor by letting you know that they were shallow and emotionally unavailable. This isn't your fault. You shouldn't feel regret for having feelings. If anyone should feel regret, it should be them for getting rid of a friend because they had feelings. Now I'm 21 and I have zero friends and no education. I feel like I'm unsuccessful and stuck in life while my friends and cousins are enjoying life, going to college, and living their best lives. I'm struggling with being alone. I feel like I can't make new friends anymore. I'm an introvert and I get socially anxious whenever I go out. It's so hard to talk to people or connect with them. You know, just saying, if you want to practice that here, this is a really great place to do that. We have a lot of people in this community here who have felt similar ways, and they've been able to open up and engage and practice, because socialization is a skill. It's something you have to practice, and that's one of the things we work really hard to do here, is give people that place where they feel safe to do that. Can't seem to move on from my past. I feel like I'll never find friends or a girl like that again. I still think about her and watch her on Instagram sometimes, and it makes me regret everything even more. I want to move on and make my life better, but I can't seem to find a way forward. If you want to heal from this wound, you gotta quit picking at it. This person sounds shallow and emotionally unavailable, and those are qualities that you don't want in a friend. Because what is a friend for if not somebody that you can talk to when you're going through hard times? What is a friend for if it's not somebody that you can lean on when you need to lean on somebody? Somebody that you can talk to about anything. That's what friendship is all about. It's not just about that surface level, you know, I would say that this person has their own problems. They don't want you to see those problems. And that's why it's okay that they don't want you to talk about your problems. They don't want to think about their problems. People don't post about their problems on Instagram. People only post their positives because they want everyone to believe that they have a great life. So what I would say is, find that next step forward. You want to move on, you want to make your life better. Imagine yourself doing that. Moving on and making life a little bit better. What are some things that version of you, that future version of you, what are some things that they're doing differently? What's that next little step? Doesn't have to be a big step. What's that next little step? Maybe reaching out, maybe just talking to somebody, just practicing a little bit of socialization. It's a good place to start. Maybe even just saying hi in the chat. It's a great way. I don't know. In thinking about it, it's like, I don't feel like you lost a friend. Because the way that they treated you was not how friends should treat each other. Taking someone's private information, someone's emotional disclosure, and then using that against them, that's not what friends do. That's what enemies do. You didn't lose a friend. You identified a foe. Whenever you find friends, and you will find friends, whenever you find those friends that actually listen to you, those friends that actually want to hear how you feel, those friends that actually show you that they care about you and the things that you've struggled with, you will know what real friendship is like, and you will realize, oh my goodness, I was so wrong about those other people. That was not friendship. What did you do when he said yes would go? Of course. Without a doubt. Not of all of us have been so far as to know what do look more like, but in the end, what really matters is yes. You want to come at me with the psychobabble? I got psychobabble on lock, alright? I've spent hours and hours amongst people who are just like actively in their symptoms. I speak the language. Miss Boo? Whoop. Miss Boo. Oh, you're so cute. Any tips on how to not gain 5 pounds this week? No. Gain 5 pounds this week. That's what the holidays are for. Eating good. Gaining 5 pounds isn't the worst thing. It gives you something to do when the weather gets warmer. I'm like, I can lose that holiday weight. At least it gives me something to do. Ooh. Whoa. So fuzzy. Oh. Miss Pooh. Miss Pooh. Look at them. Them. Oh my god. Ah! Eating good around the holidays is what it's all about. So I have no tips on how to not gain 5 pounds this week. Because I'm going to try to gain even more than 5 pounds. I'm shooting for 10. I'm shooting for 10. So any tips on how to not gain 5 pounds? Gain 10 pounds. But I'm shooting for 15. Alright, one up me then, if you have to. Well, how about how to lose those 5 pounds later? That's a problem for later me to figure out. Right now, I don't have to worry about it. That's a problem for next year's me. Alright, we're all caught up in the question box. We had Luna's question in here, but they said to not answer it, so... I'm upset. What's on your mind, fucker46? They let you make that as a username? You can literally have the username fucker46. I'm upset because I'm being made fun of? By who? Who's bothering you? A random troll? Then block them. You don't owe random trolls your time of day. You've only got so much life to live. Don't waste any of it on random trolls. They're not worth it. The thing about random trolls is that they're pretty good at making you feel like you owe them a response or that you have to talk to them. But here's the thing, you actually don't. You actually don't have to talk to them. You don't have to engage with them at all. Let them go find somebody else to bother. Don't let them get you down. You're fucker 46 after all. They threatened to steal my identity? Block them. Block them. That's my strategy. Block them and move on. There's only one fucker 46 and that's you. Nobody can ever replace you. Show them who the real fucker in this town is. Well, we're all caught up in the question box. We're all caught up. I'll hang out for a little bit longer. If we have any more questions come in, or if there's anything you guys want to talk about. But I'm going to do a little bit of a shorter stream today because we're going to go see Grandma in the hospital soon. I don't want to get too far into it, but how do you break the cycle of abuse? I became what I hated more than anything in my late teens and very early 20s. That was almost a decade ago now, and I have refused to live my life in the in-between. I feel like I don't deserve to. I just stay at home and my mom's too afraid and ashamed to poke my head out. It makes me feel like a coward. I just want to be a good person. I've been institutionalized twice and been on therapy and meds, but I can't escape. I feel like I'm trapped in that time. It sounds like you've taken a lot of time to think about the things that you've been dealing with. You've been working on becoming more aware of yourself. Are we being fair to ourselves? Are we showing ourselves compassion? Recognizing a cycle is an essential part of breaking that cycle. How can you break a cycle if you don't know what it is that you're trying to break? So what can you do to move forward? I have some ideas that come to mind. A good place to start would be that belief that you mentioned. I feel like I don't deserve to live my life. That's a great place to start, to work on that belief. Because if you believe that you don't deserve to live your life, if you don't deserve to grow, if you don't believe that you deserve happiness and joy and love and all of those wonderful things, then how are you going to get there? The past cannot be changed. We can learn from the past, but we must not dwell on the past. To dwell on the past is to keep ourselves stuck in the past. So where do we want to go from here? What changes do we want to make? In what ways do we want things to be different? We break the cycle of abuse by working on it every day. Let every day be one small step towards the life that we're trying to live. So you've got goals. I would write them out. I would write them down. I would say, where do I want to go from here? What do I want to do? What changes do I want to make? I'd write them out. Shift our focus away from the past and onto the future. And then identify the steps that we can make here and now that help us go in that direction. Also, you're not a coward. It takes bravery to live a human life. You're still in it. You haven't given up. You haven't quit. That takes bravery. So what sort of things do you want for yourself? When we have an idea of where we are, and it sounds like you do, you have an idea of where you're at right now, and you have an idea of where you want to go, you've got orientation. You know where you need to head. What is one step you can take in that direction? 15 said the desire to break the cycle of abuse is an act of courage. Absolutely. Well said. Good point. So many people fall into the cycle of abuse because it's all they ever know. And they don't question it, they don't challenge it, they just perpetuate it. And so wanting to do better, wanting to grow, wanting to heal, that's bravery. So you're braver than you know. And one day you'll see it. You know, if you want to be a good person, what does that mean? What does it mean to be a good person? If you want to talk about it more, if you have any goals you want to work on, we can help you figure out what that next step looks like. What are some good ways to be more confident in larger group settings? If I'm hanging out with a couple friends, I have no issues speaking up, but if I'm in a group, I never have the confidence to interact. Is this especially difficult? This is especially difficult at work with large team meetings. What's the difference? Variables. The sheer number of variables in the equation. When it's just a few friends, there's only so many variables. But the more people, the more variables there are. More people, more complicated. I'm told that I contribute positively when I speak up, but that doesn't seem to make me feel more comfortable. That same thing goes in both work and personal settings. Less than 5 people is great, more than 5 and I struggle. What you'll probably notice, or what you probably have noticed in large social gatherings, is that small groups tend to form in a social setting. Very rarely in a party of 20 people are all 20 people engaged in one group discussion. It just doesn't really work. That number that you mentioned, about 5, that's about right. That's about how many people you can fit into one conversation. Any more than that, and it becomes a lecture. Any more than that, it becomes a presentation. A bit of general advice that I would say if you're in a larger group and you're meeting people you don't know, just ask more questions. Let them do the talking. And you know what they'll think about you? They'll think about, wow, this person's really good at socializing. They asked me questions, they were encouraging, they seemed interested. They'll think that you're good at socializing even if you don't feel like you're good at socializing. Just make it the objective to get to know these people better, instead of feeling like I have to add my 2 cents. Just get them to do the talking. Don't feel like you have to add something. Don't feel like you have to add some insight or some point that no one has made before, that you have to like help to decorate that cake. Asking questions is one of the best ways to get through a social situation in a successful way. Just show people interest, engage with them, like model their body language. Like, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. You know, look at it as making a soup. You know, you don't have to throw any extra ingredients into the soup. You can just eat the soup and then say, hey, this is good soup. Where'd you learn how to make soup like this? Just ask people open-ended questions. Questions that facilitate conversation and dialogue. No yes or no questions. Open-ended questions. I feel like my therapist gets low-key annoyed and maybe even jealous when I mention you. Casey's over there giggling at me. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes here, alright? And if anything, I want people to be in therapy. I want more people to be in therapy. I'm not a replacement for therapy. I like to sell people on the idea of therapy. Therapist envy. Hey, therapists are human too, okay? They have human feelings, human emotions. They try their best to regulate those. It doesn't always work. I feel like my therapist gets low-key annoyed and maybe even jealous when I mention you. I get it though. A lot of stuff you said that helped me, she has said in some way before, though in a less pushy way. Anyways, I might just have to keep you a secret, LOL. So what I'm hearing here is that you want your therapist to be a little bit more challenging. You want your therapist to maybe be a little bit more assertive. That's definitely my approach. I like to be a little bit more, you know, solution focused. A lot of therapists are really good at like, oh yeah, tell me more about that. That sounds hard. What have you thought about doing about that? You know? Very like emotional processing, feeling validated, feeling heard, feeling seen. Those are all really important aspects of therapy. Well, but one of the benefits of me doing what I do here on the internet is I'm not having to sit with you one-on-one in an office, so I can just be like, so what do you want to do about it? There doesn't need to be any jealousy or annoyance here because your therapist and I, we're on the same team. We both want to see you doing well. We both want to see you doing better. It's not a contest. We're not rivals. We're on the same team here. We're both trying to help you. You know what I mean? This is a first for me. I haven't had this feedback before. I have had people come in here and say, you know, I talked to my therapist about what we talk about on here, and they said, oh, that sounds good. You know, they're like happy that you have the added layer of support, you know, the sense of community. They're happy about it. They're like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. But then there are some therapists who are just like, tell me more about Mr. Brain Man. So he sits on a rock in space and tells you what to do? Like, no, that's not what I'm doing. Nuh-uh. It's not me. It's not me. I'm not that guy. Need a therapist that understands internet addiction and online culture. They're all too normie. See, that's one of my benefits is that I'm on the internet all the time. I'm a child of the internet, so I get it. I understand the culture, I understand the norms, I understand the language. Not all therapists do. That's part of my appeal. You should definitely not keep things from your therapist as a habit. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Am I allowed to reverse the therapist and ask what issues they are facing? That is allowed. You can do that. That is allowed. They're not gonna... That is actually something that is allowed in therapy. And if you want to spend time in your therapy session getting to understand your therapist on a deeper level, you can do that. Now, they're probably not going to spend too much time talking about themselves because they're trained to not do that. You're like, the way that you do it is like, it's up to the discretion of the therapist, obviously, but it's not meant to be your therapy session as the therapist. You're not there to be the one being therapized. But I feel like if it helps you come to a mutual understanding of one another, if it helps to showcase some lived experience, you know, just to establish a commonality between the two of you so that you can understand each other better and it helps your working relationship, then yes. Actually ask my therapist if she's been through things before and it helps me contextualize the advice. Right? It's like you wanna be able to know that the person that you're talking to understands the feedback that they're offering you, that they understand the emotions that you're experiencing. Just finished a therapy session. Now I'm here for therapy 2, Electric Boogaloo. How was it? Did you have a good session? Did you tell your therapist about us? I want you to if you feel comfortable doing it. Because that's the thing. I feel like I've got nothing to hide. I feel like everything we do here is above board and we try our best to be supportive and helpful in a system that is lacking in support and access. I'm like, please, by all means, tell your therapist about me. I got nothing to hide. Can you imagine if I was like, don't tell your therapist about me, it's our little secret? That would be really creepy. It's our little secret. Don't tell anyone. I had issues with my boyfriend and asked if she understood where I'm coming from, and she told me a great anecdote that really helped. Exactly. And that's what it's all about. It's like, sometimes you just want to know that the person that you're talking to knows where you're coming from. Don't tell your therapist about me, his stomach turning to here, right? Like, that just sends up so many red flags. But no, I've heard feedback from people, like they'll talk to their therapist about this community or me or what we do here. And I've gotten good feedback. Like, I've gotten good feedback from many other mental health professionals, so I feel confident about what we do here. What it's important to remember, therapists are people too. Therapists are people too, and they sometimes deal with the same problems that other humans do. They've got to grapple with their own insecurities, their own doubts. They just work their best to minimize them so that it does not interfere with the therapeutic process. I think the internet is full of bad spaces, and it's nice a few good ones exist. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a great space. I had a plan to start cleaning my desk while listening to the stream, but I'm still just sitting here. Alright, the best strategy for cleaning up your desk is every time you get up from your desk, scan your desk real quick and say, oh, is there anything I could take to the sink? Is there anything I could take to the trash can? You know, one cup at a time. Once you get into the habit of doing that, your desk is just cleaner at a baseline. You're like, oh my god, I have so much space. I can move my mouse around. Wonderful. Wunderbar. Das ist sehr gut. Mein Schreibtisch ist sauber. Das ist sehr gut. Alright, everybody. Tomorrow, we're going to do part 2. So if you enjoyed today's presentation, and I know, it was heavy stuff. It was heavy stuff that we talked about today. We were getting into the nitty-gritty of why the holidays are so difficult. But my goal here, and I hope you found it helpful, my goal here was, by understanding why things are difficult, we are more empowered to do something about them. If we understand the nature of the problem we're trying to solve, we have a better chance at solving it. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the different strategies, the ways that we can navigate the holidays so that they can go a little smoother. And we're right on time. We're going to be doing it right before Thanksgiving. Because I assume most people are going to be celebrating it either on Thursday or over the weekend. Do I share my presentations anywhere? I'll post them in the Discord sometimes. I'll probably post the holiday survival. Yeah, I'll post the holiday survival guide ones in the Discord. That's a good idea. That should be a good resource for you. Maybe I should make a separate channel just to post those in. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, we got today's slides here on the Discord. They're in the Show Talk channel. So you can check that out. And then tomorrow it's going to be what can we do about it? This was me when I woke up. I woke up 15 minutes late for stream. I didn't sleep much last night. And so I went back to bed around 9 in the morning. And I was like, I'm just going to sleep for a couple hours. And I woke up 1:15 p.m. Like, oh, I'm late. I was live within 30 minutes. I was live within 30 minutes. Somebody posted this in the Discord and they were like, what in tarnation is this? It says, according to Dynamical Systems, psychiatric disorders can be seen as energy landscapes with peaks and valleys. OCD has deep valleys where the neural activity gets stuck, while schizophrenia has shallow valleys that let neural activity roam too freely, connecting unrelated ideas. Can I open this? Can I make this bigger? This is just the same. Like, I want to make it bigger. Zoom in. Do it the old-fashioned way. Somebody posted this in the Discord and they were like, what is this all about? Think about the levels of electrical activity in your brain. A healthy level of electrical activity in your brain will have certain areas that are more like high activity, other areas that are lower activity, and it creates more of a balance. Part of the problem in a psychosis is the energy level of your brain is too evenly distributed, and so it allows you to make all of these unrelated connections. You start to make loose associations. You become more lost in your thought. You kind of wander in your thoughts. Whereas with OCD, you become stuck in your thoughts. So this is interesting to think about. You know, you want to have a healthy array of ups and lows. It explains word salad as well. Yeah, it's like psychosis can be very mystical. It can be really difficult to understand, especially if you've never seen it firsthand or you've experienced it yourself. Having OCD and trying to break out of thought loops is damn hard. What I find to be helpful in breaking out of a thought loop is taking a step back from the loop and just observing the loop as it exists. And then imagine that loop breaking. What sort of ways can we use to get out of that loop? Do we need to pull ourselves out of it? Do we need to find a new alternative? Do we need to go really far down into it so that we pop out on the other side? Do we try to climb out of the hole, or do we just go so far down in the hole that we end up on the other side? lately I've been envisioning a Hot Wheels car flying off the track. That's my favorite mental way to express a thought loop as well, is with a tangible physical loop. Like, do I need to take the car off the track, or do I need to add some more pieces? I need to add some more length of track here. This is the link to the study. This is a pretty old study. This was in 2007. Just consider the landscape. Like, forget about diagnosis for a moment. Just consider the landscape of your mind. Do you have healthy peaks and valleys? It's about building a healthier landscape for your mind. Alrighty. Hi everyone, hi Joshua. Oh, well this is awkward. You got here right as we're about to leave, and it's gonna be like, oh, Gemma Rue's here, time to go. Alright everybody, I'm gonna raid friend of the show, Cartoon Therapy. Cartoon Therapy's live right now. They're doing their last show for a week. Also, they're nominated for a Streamer Award, Hidden Gem. We're gonna collab soon, by the way. Cartoon Therapy and I. We're gonna do a collab. Just wait. Alright, everybody. It's gonna be it for me today. I gotta go see Grandma. It's Poopy, I can't see the screen through you. I can't. Alright, everybody, go say hi to Cartoon Therapy for us. Say bye, Miss Poopy. Say bye. Bye. Bye bye. Mad. She's annoyed. Alright, everybody, have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow with part 2 of the Holiday Survival Guide, so don't miss it. Don't miss it. Alright, everybody, have a great night. Thanks for being here. See you next time. Bye-bye. Miss Poopy, you're too cute. I can't have you sitting here distracting me the whole time. I'm trying to think about psychology and mental health, and you're just sitting here looking so floofy. I know. I know. All right, everybody. Stay safe out there. Love thyself. See you tomorrow.